Well, Stefan, as you can imagine, an incident like this, the French president being struck in the face while shaking hands with a member of the public, it's been widely condemned across France's political spectrum. One of the first people who responded was France's Prime Minister Jean Castex, speaking in the National Assembly, and he echoed those words on Twitter. Jean Castex saying that in a democracy there is of course debate, dialogue, a confrontation of ideas, but he says a democracy can never include violence, verbal aggression, or indeed physical aggression. Now, this incident comes at a time when there is some concern in France about increased violence and attacks on elected officials. President Emmanuel Macron was visiting a hospitality school in Drôme, around 90 kilometers south of Lyon. And this is not uncommon. We usually see French presidents, other elected officials making public engagements in the lead up to campaigns and elections. And plenty more of those will be to come for Emmanuel Macron before those elections in April next year. But some other politicians who've reacted and condemned this act of violence against him include some of Macron's presidential opponents, including the likes of Marine Le Pen, the leader of the far-right National Rally, who on Twitter echoed the words of Prime Minister Jean Castex. Marine Le Pen saying once again that a democratic debate can be bitter, but it can never tolerate violence, and describing this incident on Twitter as an intolerable physical attack against President Macron. You had other people, including Jean-Luc Mélenchon, leader of France's far left, as well as the former president François Hollande of the Socialist Party, who himself had flour thrown at him before campaigning in his previous election. So all of these political leaders and many others describing this as an unbearable incident. You also had the mayor of Valence, the town in Drôme where this incident took place, and on Twitter, Nicolas Daragan saying that he also wanted to denounce what he described as an unspeakable act against President Macron, going on to say that any attack against the French president is an attack on the French Republic. Now, speaking to French media after the incident, Macron himself did not want to put things into perspective. He said that he didn't want this kind of intolerable individual act to overshadow and dominate the public debate. He wanted to keep things in perspective. And indeed, on social media, Macron has continued to tweet out positive things. For example, on Tuesday, of course, when France is celebrating the reopening of restaurants and bars as part of the latest de-escalation of COVID-19 restrictions. So while Macron is keeping himself to his strict schedule, you have politicians across France who have condemned this act against him. And indeed, Stefan, as we know, 2 people have now been arrested after the incident.